Senior Report thanks Edmund Besch of Bristol Burgess Insurance Agency, 65 East Main Street, Westfield, for his generous grant to provide news to seniors. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding for Senior Report is provided in part by a grant from Andrew Goodell, Assemblyman for the 150th District of the New York State Assembly. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the Docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. Senior Report with Reed Powers thanks Westfield's Schultz Chevy for a generous grant to inform seniors of important news. Over 50 years of service to Westfield by Chevrolet, Schultz Chevy across from the school. The physicians of Jamestown Primary Care are happy to sponsor the Senior Report. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And good morning. What a beautiful day we have here in Chautauqua County. A little water coming down, which will make the grapes a bumper crop, we hope, unless there's a freeze as usual. There's always something going on with the grapes. But in the meantime, get out and have some fun. Today, incidentally, free fishing. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. You can go fishing for free. You don't need a license. Take the kids out, get them started. Say, hey, guys, let's have some fun. So today and tomorrow, Saturday, now remember you watch this on tape, so I'm saying Saturday the 29th, Sunday the 30th of June, you have free fishing. No license needed, guys. Maybe they'll have a free hunting season later on. But at any rate, they're trying to get the young kids interested in something besides girls and the computer games. So maybe this will do it. And of course, the best thing about fishing is you can eat your sport, whatever it is you catch, you can eat them up. I used to take my kids, when you break a kid in on fishing, make sure you have a pond with lots of fish. It doesn't matter how big they are. They can be little tiny perch or bluegills, pumpkin seeds or whatever. But in the meantime, they'll catch fish like there's no tomorrow. You give them a little worm, a piece of worm on a hook, and away they go. They start hauling them in. Bring a 5-gallon bucket. Every fish they bring in is a monster in your eye. So, wow, what a beautiful fish. We're going to eat that tonight. And toss it in your bucket and spend the next 3 days eating fish. And of course, it takes almost that long to clean these little guys. Everyone gives you a little sliver about the size of a small shrimp. But it's fun. It's great. And the kids feel a great accomplishment, and they will remember it all their lives going fish with dad or mom. Fishing for free. Lots of things happening on the national level, and much of it nothing, and there's much ado about nothing. Obama's really been bombed because of the lies and the deception that's going on about the IRS treatment of conservative groups. They were giving them the business, extra forms, unbelievable requirements needed for their tax breaks, which they're guaranteed. versus the liberal groups. And so they were penalizing, according to the people, one of the major guns in the IRS itself finally stepped forward and said, yes, we were doing that. We all knew about it. White House said, oh, no, nobody knew anything about this. There was one renegade agent somewhere off in Timbuktu who was doing this. That was utter BS. And so that's going on. And then, of course, there's the question of I don't know. There's so many things going on. I just hate to get involved in the craziness going on in the White House now. And Obama has basically been a good guy. We loved him. He was a Boy Scout image. But that's going down the tubes with this kind of thing going on. And, of course, there's the surveillance. Oh, we didn't surveil anybody in America, just a foreign. That's baloney. They were checking everybody's email, everybody's phone calls, everybody's information moving around the different lines, like Facebook, social groups. I'm telling you, the idea, they were secretly doing this. Obama had a program, he even hyped it up for 7 years. He didn't start it, George Bush did. But he continued it, believe me, in spades, I might add. So I tell you, it's the White House is, well, Obama is being bombed, we'll put it that way. On the state level, we seem to be doing okay. People are still very irate up here about the new SAFE Act. You know, I love the euphemisms they pick up in SAFE. That's no safer than anything else. And even the vice president who said new gun laws requiring registration and all, like in New York State. Cuomo got through in the middle of the night. He passed a law, which was voted on a little later. But there was no public hearings on it, which is required. There was no committee hearings, which was required. He rushed it through overnight. And one of the things in it is it's so insane. First of all, police couldn't have a gun. They decided to change that anyway without all the hassle. And to buy a box 22s now, you got to go through a check. Yeah, security check. Can you imagine that? Oh my God! In New York State has so many miserable laws, and I want to compliment D'Agostino, who's an editor over at the Dunkirk Observer. We used to call it the Dunkirk Disturber. And he just wrote an editorial which is very salient about the fact that they're pumping all this TV advertising about how New York is going tax-free and they're cutting the taxes and cutting the red tape. Bunk them! We have more red tape coming on than we're cutting. This state has so much red tape, so many miserable Mickey Mouse regulations, making it so difficult to start a small business. I had a friend who had a place down on Route 5. They sold pancakes to their guests on Sunday. In comes the Department of Health, and by the time they're finished, to serve a few pancakes, she's got to have $25,000 worth of equipment and expenses. Needless to say, goodbye. No pancakes. Hello, Pancake House. They did all right, I guess. So at any rate, get on your case. Kathy Young and Andy Goodell, tell them you're just sick of this stuff. We'll put it that way. I was going to use the C word, which you're allowed to use on TV, public, even on regular TV. They use it now. Let me tell you something. People have to speak out. Get out there and tell them you're tired of the Mickey Mouse crap we're getting from everybody in the legislature in New York State. We'll stop it. I got a great guest today, and he's sitting there trembling because he says, I don't remember powers being like that. His name is Steve Keefe, and Steve Keefe is the new mayor of Fredonia, and he's not new to the area. He's been on the legislature and been very active and doing a great job. And we'll talk about some of the issues over in Fredonia, what he's doing, what's happening, and even we'll talk about that Golden Opera House. We have a lot of, as I said, free fishing here in Chautauqua County, all over the state, as a matter of fact, statewide. And don't forget, get out and take your kid fishing today or tomorrow. And if it's raining, it's all the better. You get more fish. Yeah, believe it or not, the fish bite better when it's raining because the rain throws a lot of worms and bugs into the water, and the fish go on a feeding frenzy. So you'll do pretty well. Use the garden hackle. That's the old earthworm. Night crawler. You know, you still get night crawlers at night. They crawl around. Tonight, if you go out in the misty rain, even if it stops raining, and creep around just after dark with a flashlight, you'll see thousands of worms, great big night crawlers, laying right on this surface, on the lawn. And they come out of the little hole and they get together and they attach to each other and they mate. And you can pick them up sometimes 2 at a time and you fill a bucket with them. And if you have smart, you put a box in the earth, fill it with dirt and leaves and stuff, and just drop them in that. And most of them will stay right in the box. They'll be happy as long as you feed them lettuce and any other plant garbage you have. We used to save all the plant garbage and go down behind the supermarket. Back then it was quality, and they all threw away a lot of produce. You pick it up and take it over and feed it to the worms. And I used to get 50 cents a dozen back in the 60s, even the 50s. Can you believe it? Now they're not too expensive, I think $1. That's one thing that hasn't inflated much is earthworms. Okay, guys, we got, I have a public service announcement for you, and I'm going to do a little senior stuff, and then we'll have John Hamels on. Let me talk about the senior groups here. They told me I've used so much time BSing here that I don't have much time for the news, but here we'll go. The Great Belt Seniors, quite an active group. Free Tai Chi, how about that? Mondays and Fridays for the next 12 weeks. You want to learn to defend yourself? Tai Chi. All you have to do is learn one good kick. It's very slow, though. The travel committees plan trips. Now, everybody in the senior groups have wonderful trips. Here's just some that are going on at the Great Belt Senior. They're going to the Allegheny Casino. Costs $25, but they give you $25 worth of chips to play. Just don't go beyond them. When you win, walk. When you lose, walk. Don't stay there or you'll be going back without your shirt. They give you $5 for food too, I might add. So you actually get $30 for a $25 bus trip over to the Allegheny Casino. July 15th, that's coming up. That's the day after the ox roast. Monday, I think it's a Monday. Let me double check my trusty calendar here. I don't want to misinform you. July 15th is definitely a Monday. Ox roast, Westfield, July 14th. That's the biggest deal in town. Huge thing. Everybody from the county comes over. All the reunionees come in from all over the country, and they have parties on Friday, Saturday, and then the ox roast on Sunday, and everybody gets together. It's a huge party, and they have these gigantic oxes they have on that they have on these big stick. It's fantastic. Spits of ox. You don't know what it's like. I'm only kidding, but they do have a lot of sliced, wonderful beef, and they have a sandwich that's incredible, and the sauce that goes with it. It goes back into the 30s. I remember going down there when I was a little kid. Yeah. Fire department runs it. Okay. Trip to Lockport with the Great Builders. You're going to travel on the 1840s Erie Canal to check it out. They have a buffet lunch at the canal side. And visit the First Presbyterian Church, which has 6 original Tiffany windows. I mean, they were like diamonds. They still are in terms of cost. If you have a Tiffany window, baby, you got something big, and also a lamp, I might add, or anything. He made some sterling silver things too. And if it says Tiffany on it, oh, you got a winner. Okay, they're also going to go on Monday, August 5th to a motor coach to see the comedic mystery, Sherlock Holmes, a case of the Telltale Teapot. I remember the Telltale Heart. I don't remember the teapot. And have a luncheon too. A lot of great stops on the way, and they'll have fun. They're having the Treasures of Quebec tour. July 5th, get your dough in. It's going to be a beauty. 5-day trip to Quebec. They indicated no exercise classes. Don't show up on July 5th, which is the normal time. They'll come back on July 8th at 9 a.m. And all the senior groups have great exercise groups. They keep you in good shape. They even have a runaround lap in the school, the old school in Dunkirk, where the Dunkirk and Fredonia seniors meet. Yeah, you do laps in the middle of winter. Lakeshore has quite a bunch. They meet regularly, and I don't know, they have a lot of things. I want to say Barbara Barrich is a very big gun over there and does the job. She's the mayor. She's the president. And let's see. I want to mention helper of the day is Christopher. She does so much work all over there. Their next meeting, if you want to meet with these guys, and I better tell you again, it's the Lake Shore Senior Group. They meet in the Dunkirk place, although there's been some motion around about that, hasn't there, about where they meet, the seniors in Fredonia? We'll ask Steve about that. Okay, now, July 3rd, you'll meet the committee, Pat Martinez and Carol Kozlowski. These are the people who serve the coffee and cake, and they are the most important people. They're telling me, get on with it. You're done, Powers. You're done. Okay, wait a minute. I got a couple of quick notes here, a lot of blank paper, and let's see. Silver Creek, incidentally, is putting up a new sign out in front of their place. And it'll say Silver Creek Senior Center. Sharon Happy Seniors, they have a great bunch. You know, they deliver Meals on Wheels themselves, the group, yeah, over in Sheridan. There will be no meeting July 5th, so don't show up. July 10th, the July 19th meeting is at noon. It's a cookout too. Bring your salads, and Happy Seniors will provide hot dogs and rolls and so forth. And they remind us, don't forget the senior picnic, countywide big deal over in the park at Midway Park, August the 9th, and it's kind of an all-day deal. And they have barbecued chicken and whole sides and wonderful things, and it's always a great deal. Silver Creek Seniors, hello there. As I pointed out, they're going to put a new sign up. Ed Newman does the honors over there, opens the door, unlocks, takes care of everything. And Irene Connie leads the prayers, and she had one, When Trails Come. I don't know, sometimes we talk about the end of the trail. I want to say happy birthday to Marv and Fran Smith and Marianne Siebert. Cake, ice cream, and song. And boutonnieres, I might add. July 2nd is the next meeting. Drop around. Westfield Seniors. I know. I'm running out of time. I'm going to just whip this along. Westfield Seniors, they have quite an active group. Kent Knappenberger, he's a Westfield High School Academy Central School music director, had a big program. 7 young men entertained the group by singing several numbers. Soloist Christopher Kelly sang Bring Him Home from Les Miserables. You remember that. All right, and Trevor North sang Joanna from Sweeney Todd. We have opera going on here, musical opera. Shirley Copine is the president over there. She has a very elderly husband. Yeah, I think he's in his 90s now, John Copine. And he waves the flag when the traffic goes by, when you have a fire or emergency or any EMS call. You'll see the little blue light down in the corner of where Top Supermarket is, and he'll be out there waving his flag. They're having a big annual picnic themselves behind the YMCA. This is the group, the Westfield Seniors, and they meet at the YWCA. What am I saying? I'm too old. You used to have a YMCA right now in Westfield, and it was very active, and all the men went over there, young men, and it's right where the bank is now, the Key Bank. That used to be where it was. And I grew up there, and I learned a lot of things. I learned to play a good game of ping pong, I learned a lot of chess, and I learned to fight. All right, the annual picnic will be held July 11th at noon behind the YWCA, and down just a little bit behind the library, you know, there's an arena, a Greek arena. They built the building in a Greek style, and they have a Greek stage cut into the rock down there, and it's just above the creek, the Chautauqua Creek. A beautiful sight. A lot of people don't know that unless they live here. They have a Chinese auction, $5. I know, it's over. They're saying you're done. Powers, it's over. We have a public service announcement for you, and then we'll have John Hamels. Here you go. This is for you. I don't know. There we go.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Okay, I want to make an editorial comment difference here. The ox roast in Westfield is July the 8th, according to a call that came in. July 8th, the ox roast in Westfield, Ottaway Park. All the ox you can eat for peanuts, and you get curly fries, you get all kinds of great things. Laughing and dancing and music and fooling around. Can't go wrong. You're on John Hamill's. John shoots from the hip. Here he is.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Reed, I just wanted you to know that I decided this morning I was going to get into my official uniform because the 4th of July, you know what's going to happen?
I think they're going to shoot fireworks off.
The Cable Access 5 team, we're going to be live down in Mayville. And if you're going to be down there at the parade, it's going to be starting at 10 o'clock. We're going to be doing live coverage. So you can watch the show right at home, or you can come down and visit with us.
And you can watch it.
I'll be wearing this shirt. Look for our hats and come by and tell us about how you like the show, or if you have suggestions for us, then just come by and say hi to the crew. We'll be happy to see you. But we're going to be down in front of the library and so forth. And I just checked the weather report. Looking good.
Looking good.
Last year, we almost all got toasted. I think I told you I was standing there, and all of a sudden this bolt of lightning comes right down behind one of those churches there across the street. I'm not sure which one it is. It always has a rummage sale. And I'm holding this microphone, and I'm going like, this can't be good. And I see Chris and Randy and Jeff, they're all grabbing tarps, and we all just got soaked. But it's a great time, folks. It's the best parade, I don't know, this side of the Mississippi as far as I'm concerned. And that's going to be up on the 4th of July. We're going to be doing live coverage, and I'll be your host that day. Okay, Reed, I just want to do a shout out to some folks. In the last 6 days, Bill and I have done 3 concerts. We were over in Frewsburg at the Bistro. Was Thursday night. We were in Northeast Pennsylvania, where we've gone multi-state now. We had a great time with the folks over there. Maybe they're catching the show today if they're over in New York. And of course, last night we were in Randolph, and we had a small but tried and true group. We went indoors because the rain was just coming down in buckets right around when we were going to start. So we went into the community center. And boy, if you haven't been to Randolph in a while, what a great town! It really is up and coming. But I want to say hi to everybody over there. Where's Randolph? Out 86, just the other side of Faulkner. Okay. You know? So anyways, great time, and we had a lot of fun out there. Now, here's my 2 cents for today. All right, there's so many good things to talk about, and you've already covered every one of them but one. I've been watching and reading in the paper about this big fuss about whether they should give the sheriff and the county executive and the clerk a raise and so forth. Okay. I'm confused, all right? You've got certain positions in county government where people come to work every day, they are elected, and they support their families and so forth. Why do you wait every 3 or 4 years and sit around, have a meeting, and then talk about a potential 28% raise, which makes everybody crazy? Why aren't we looking at things like just a cost of living every year or some smaller increments? No, we don't always have to give raises. I agree with that. But when you have folks like Joe Gerasi, how long has Joe been in office? He's got to be like 20 years now or something like that. This guy gets a raise like every 5 years. I realize that we don't have to look at every county and compare salaries, but look at the person's merit and how they've worked. These people are on 24/7. As far as the county executive and the county clerk, they're going to be vacant this year, and they're going to be new people. But I would encourage the legislators to at least look at maybe some cost of living or something along those lines, because it just ticks people off when all of a sudden you see the committee recommending a 28, 30% raise, 15% raise in a county that, as we all know, is critically endangered right now, and as far as finances. But at the same time, I think we should respect and be fair to our elected officials and give them at least a family-sustaining wage. As far as the county legislature, hey, it's a part-time job. If they want to give themselves a little trickle of something, okay, fine, but nothing major. They're not supporting their families on that. But anyways, let's be sensible, let's be reasonable, and let's think about how we treat our elected officials fairly. Back to you, Reed.
Thank you very much, John. Well spoken. And sometimes in this day and age, Chautauqua County, which many people do realize, is the highest tax county in the United States, not in New York. Forbes and other people check it out. In the meantime, they quibble a little. Well, there's another county per capita based on the quality of the life and the housing, but we're highly taxed here in Chautauqua County. Don't kid yourself. We've got a guy here, Steve Keefe, former legislator, and other roles too, right?
Some.
Yeah.
Some.
And he is now the mayor of Fredonia, and he's going to talk about Fredonia and some of the happy things going on around here and some of the good things. We do have some wonderful things, especially in the Fredonia area. Not to mention the fact that we have one of the finest schools, SUNY, the state of New York schools in Fredonia, and it's a college town, and it has other issues that a lot of towns don't have to worry about. You don't have to have 8,000 students or whatever it is, 10,000, I don't know how many there right in the town.
Well, there's about 5,000 actual students, undergraduates, and then maybe another 1,000 in grad students.
Yeah, there were 800 when I went there, and they were actually pushing for men. They sent a delegation over to see me, and here was this guy that brought along with him a gorgeous knockout blonde. And I mean,
that's
it
a
was
good strategy.
And the first thing they told me is the men are outnumbered 4-1 by gorgeous knockout blondes. I said, yes, I will be there next semester. Right. Just like that.
Everything's in marketing.
Marketing is the name of the game. Now, where'd you grow up? Tell us about that.
Where I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, whatever brought you up here? This ain't horse country.
A beautiful young lady.
Beautiful, a gorgeous young blonde.
Dark hair.
Dark hair.
Right, I met my wife in Rochester, New York. I was living in Maine, and she was living in Rochester. And I was just leaving the service and traveling south, and met her in Rochester, and we dated for quite a while, and decided let's settle down together. Got married in Moorhead, Kentucky, where I was going to college, and then relocated to Fredonia, and have been here ever since.
Okay. Well, when did you come to Fredonia?
1975 originally.
Oh, you're almost a founder there.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me, what did you study in college?
English primarily.
Yeah, I found that a fine background too. So then you came to them, and then what happened? You were elected to the legislature? When was that?
Well, originally I was elected as a trustee to the village of Fredonia.
Trustee?
Right. Our friend Frank Pagano asked me to run, and I said, all right. What I liked about it was Frank approached me. I didn't know Frank. Frank didn't know me. But he approached me and gave me a call, asked me to stop over and talk to him. I went over and talked to him, and Frank said, have you ever thought about running for a political office? And I said, no, not really. But he talked to me for a while. And, I said, well, I have to discuss it with my wife before I make any decisions. Discussed it with my wife. My wife said, yeah, if that's something you want to do, go right ahead and do it. And what I liked about it, though, is Frank never asked me what political party I was with. Later he said, by the way, what party are you with? And I said, well, I'm a Democrat. He says, good, I'm a Democrat too. But I respect that in a village, that it's not the political affiliation. It's the the way people think that make them a good politician.
I agree. The like what's going on in the Congress is just nutsiness because there's so much political haggling.
Well, so much battling over getting anything accomplished, and it's more about making the other side look bad.
Right. So then what happened? You became
became a trustee.
A trustee.
Mike Bobsing was the county legislator
at
at the time. And I was a trustee for almost 2 years. And Mike got his law degree and decided that there would be conflicts of interest as he was serving in the legislature. So asked me if I would take his position. So I took his position in the legislature. And I stayed with the legislature about 9 years. And then retired from that when my duties at work, I was a high school principal, and then I took over K through 12. And decided to, I had to stop something.
This was in Fredonia?
Brockton.
Brockton. Yeah, good school system. It looks like they're going to join up with Westfield, hopefully.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
I think that's the sign of the times.
It is. Well, you have to consolidate. I mean, the cost of schooling is just insane, and a lot of schools have hardly any. Like, look at I think Ripley has 200 in a class in
Right.
the whole school area.
And they are doing their annexation.
Yeah, well, they'll probably join with Chautauqua, and have joined in some areas.
Right.
I should say Chautauqua Lake CS school system.
Right.
Okay, now we have the school systems are joining up here and there, and you have been a principal for so many years. Gee whiz, how many years were you a principal?
10 years
That's-
at Brockton, and a couple of years with Bosse's before that.
And I noticed you'd met Doc Hamels,
I know him well.
who was in the game too.
Right, right. Well, we originally met, in the Bosse system. We were both teachers in the Bosse system, so we've known each other for quite a few years.
Yeah. And so then the mayor comes up. What happened there?
I retired from education, and I was good at retirement. I was excellent. I knew how to do it. I was nice and relaxed, taking it easy.
And we weren't sitting around waiting to die or anything like that. Anything dire.
No, just enjoying coffee, reading the Observer, and my wife babysits for my two grandsons. Here's where I went wrong. My two grandsons and I would run around the house chasing each other around the dining room table, and my wife finally said, I can handle two kids. I'm having trouble with three. So she said, they're asking you to run for mayor. Why don't you run for mayor? And
keep you off the streets and off the table anyway.
No, keep me out of her hair. So that's what happened. I went ahead and ran for mayor, and I was successful.
Yeah, you did very well. What do you do as a mayor of Fredonia? I know you have to oversee a lot of things.
Well, as a mayor, the first thing that I wanted to do is take the things that were on the table and get them off the table and get them in motion. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Sometimes, things are moving at a pace. They hit government and they kind of slow down a little bit.
Especially in New York State.
Well, I think anywhere. I think it's, you talk about the gridlock in Washington. This whole thing about student loans right now, it comes down to us not moving at all at a prime time where action has to take place. But, that was my main goal, was to take a look at some of the projects that were on the table. We had a project from 1999 dealing with the Army Corps of Engineers, which was to secure a pipe going from our village to our wastewater treatment plant on Lake Erie. And we needed to get that completed. And now we're in the process, we're almost done with that. We had a water district that we were trying to put together in the town, and that was at a little bit of a loggerhead. We've got that, and it's almost completed. They've moved very quickly with that.
Once you brought it up, you got on it.
Well, sometimes you just keep pounding away at something until it moves, and we did get that taken care of, and now the lines are all drawn. One of the good things about it is if there is a regional water district, we've got a great footprint to tie into a regional water district. And
well, now there was a question about buying water from Dunkirk or something.
Right.
That was a big one. I mean, everybody was all lively enraged about it.
Right, right.
What happened there?
Well, there's a couple of things that happened. We do have an interconnection with Dunkirk, and there is water that we sell to Dunkirk. Dunkirk sells to us. When they had their big fire, the Masonic Hall in Dunkirk, we were pumping water to them. They had a water main break. We were pumping water to them. When our water levels get down, that's why we connect it with them, is so that we can buy water, from Dunkirk to Fredonia. What happened with there was a series of events that happened with our water systems. One of the problems was an algae or some kind of bacteria that was forming on our beds, on the filtration beds, and it wasn't allowing the water to filtrate the way it should. So they were closing down beds, cleaning them out, and slowed down the process. And while that process was going on, we were buying water from Dunkirk. The other thing that we had was a water main break at the what they did was at the college they were putting in new water lines, and there was a lack of communication between the college and the water treatment or plant. As they were putting in these lines, they were flushing the lines and using a large amount of water. So our water levels were sinking, and we were buying water from Dunkirk to make sure that we had enough water. It was a dry season, and that added to the problem, but everything seems to be in good shape now. We're still trying to figure out what the algae was, and we have a new gentleman up there right now doing tests.
Working on that. Huh?
Working on that just to identify what that problem was so that we can take care of it in the future.
Okay, we have a phone call. You want to take it?
Sure.
Okay, you're on, caller. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This isn't exactly what your caller was, what your guest is talking about, but it does affect many people in the United States. Right now, the banks are paying us, the taxpayers, back for the money that they borrowed at the rate of less than 1%. Congress, in its wisdom, is about ready to pass a bill that's going to double the student loan price for the Stafford loans, which are primarily loaned by the poorer people that are trying to get an education so they can improve their lot in life, at the rate of around 7%.
I know, it's a scandal, isn't it?
It's more than a scandal. It's just, I can't, what is happening to our country?
Yeah, I quite agree. You know, the worst is the same effect is in Social Security. You had money in there for 50 years, 60 years, like I have, and they borrowed it and didn't pay you a penny interest on it. In the meantime, that's why you're now getting inflation, and they're not giving you a real COLA, a fair COLA. It's now costing you twice as much for goods out of your Social Security. In other words, you used to fill a basket with your Social Security. Today, the basket's half empty. That's what you're getting. Thanks a lot, Congress.
And yet, their wages are fixed. I don't care if we have a depression. They're still going to make their money. They're still going to have every perk that they get. You can't take the perk away from them. It's engraved in blood that they will continue to get that.
Yeah, you're right, caller. Steve wanted to say something.
Right. I would suggest you make a phone call to Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand.
I have already done that.
Okay. Are you supporting the Elizabeth Warren bill?
That's the one that affects...
The interest rate.
No, I didn't realize she had a bill up.
Right. She does have something that sets the interest rate at a certain percent and guarantees that for the life of the loan, rather than an inflational part that would keep it going up as inflation goes up. So Elizabeth Warren, I think...
Is that for this particular loan or any loan?
That would be for the student loans specifically.
I will definitely support that.
What's the name again, Steve?
Elizabeth Warren is the...
Warren.
She's the...
She's taking the blame, the fall.
Well, no, she's got a progressive idea that just takes it back to the way it was before. That it would be a set rate, stay that rate, and a guaranteed rate for the life of the loan.
Well, the cost of college is so high, it's reaching the point where only the rich can afford it.
Well, and then maybe that's part of the plot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, although I'm registered to a different party, I believe that come this next election, I will probably be, because the party I'm registered with is not the party that it was when I was growing up and originally registered.
I'm glad you did an election here and mentioned the party, but I agree with you, lady.
It's not my party anymore. It has been taken over by people that...
A bunch of crazies. I agree.
They're not progressive conservatives, I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, you know it. Okay, well, thank you for your call. Send me a $5, send me a envelope, and $5 will come back. And you could send me $5 too if you want.
Yeah, I'll think about that.
I will send you a $5 certificate for a lovely restaurant in the local area. Okay, caller, thanks again. Have a great day. Remember, you can go fishing for free today.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah, those, I don't know, what's going on in our Congress? What's the matter with these people?
Well, Congress did pass a bill for the interest rate, but I think does have an inflation part to it, where with inflation it goes up. And that's what I admire about the one in the Senate right now.
The Warren bill.
The Elizabeth Warren bill that keeps it stable. I mean, we had, every member of my family graduated from Fredonia State, and we all took out student loans. My wife graduated from there, I graduated from there, all three of my children graduated from there, and in fact my daughter-in-law graduated from there. So that we're a family of Fredonia State graduates. It's a state college, so the tuition wasn't as bad as other places.
It was free when I went there, I might add.
With a beautiful blonde.
With a beautiful blonde.
Four blondes to every guy.
And then right. Then Rockefeller put in just $50, but we raised a rumpus about it. Didn't get anywhere, and we knew that $50 would grow to $5,000 today.
Right.
For what is that? A semester, a year, or what? It's huge.
Oh, it is huge.
Yeah.
And they just passed another bill recently for the affordable, or the, what do they call it? The common sense tuition rate, where tuition rates are going to continue to grow. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to have your private schools soaring, and your state schools are going to be following closely behind.
Well, one of the disadvantages the state schools have is they don't have these huge endowment funds. Harvard, Princeton, all the bigger colleges, and the Ivy Leagues have billion-dollar
Right.
funds that people have given to over the years, and they have huge amounts of money. They can keep the tuition low and give out scholarships like crazy.
Right.
Which the state you can't. My whole family there was a picture in the Dunkirk Observer not too many years ago of 4 generations having gone to Fredonia.
Oh.
And my son, my wife, her mother, and her grandmother actually all went to Fredonia, and it's a great asset in our local area.
It is.
Excepting when they had the reunions and the beer time.
You know, it wasn't as bad as some people seem to think that it was. As far as I think what happened, we had a combination, kind of like our water situation. There was a combination of events that happened. The first problem that we had was beautiful weather. The weather was outstanding. You know, it was 75-degree weather, 5,000 students, you know, in the downtown area. The college, they call it Fredonia Fest. And Fredonia Fest was traditionally a college-based activity.
Hold on, caller. We'll be right with you.
But the college did fewer activities on the campus, so that the students ended up more downtown. And there was
450 bars downtown, isn't there? Something like that.
no, not quite.
Not quite, but a lot of them.
Well, maybe 15. I would think that some of those are restaurants. So. But I mean, Fredonia can be a very festive place and a very festive time, and a lot of it didn't take place in the bars. That's the problem. A lot of it took place in private homes. And private homes, we have limited restrictions. We can't go into a private home and say you can't have fun. You know, that's kind of an intrusion on the people's rights. The police were very pleased with the cooperation that they received from the students. They would ask students to, you know, leave an area. The students would leave the area. They were very cooperative. So there weren't a lot of arrests. There wasn't any physical damage. There was potential, though. Huge potentials. You saw in the Observer a bunch of students, and I counted it out of 24 students standing on the porch.
Roof, yeah.
On the roof. If that roof would have given way, you would have had some major problems. There were people on the porch underneath it.
Disaster.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the problem.
Well, that wasn't anything special. Every year there's some kind of action with Fredonia Fest, and I just got a notice. I had the Oxrose date right. I don't know what's going on here. We keep getting callers. The Oxrose in Westfield, July 14. Write that down. Graven in stone, July 14.
Come to Fredonia on July 8th. We won't serve you ox, but we will show you a good time. So
okay,
if you want to be out and about on the 8th, we're open.
What happens on the 8th?
I don't know. We'll come up with something. If you've got
Oh, the 8th, right. Those folks that are going to the Oxrose in Westfield, remember, it's July 14th. But if you want to go somewhere on the 8th, go over to Fredonia.
Right. We'll have something going on.
They'll have something going on. Chicken, maybe, whatever. What do you We're with Steve Keefe. He is the mayor of Fredonia, doing, from what my informants tell me, doing a fantastic job. And do we have a caller on? A caller, thank you for waiting. You are very patient. You're on.
Good morning, and good morning to your guest. Mayor Keefe, I have a question, if you care to comment, and then I'll hang up and have a listen. It appears that Fredonia is almost overrun by different police agencies. I've noticed that there's the college, there is the state police, your local law enforcement agency, and the sheriff's department. That seems like overkill. Could you comment on that?
Sure, and and thankfully they do work in cooperation with each other, as well as with the city of Dunkirk. Do we have too many police officers? I don't know. On our payroll, let's say I think it's 9 officers that we have for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then we have people that are the work the desk. If the state police are dedicated to the state agencies, to have them come in and run patrols in the village, it would be random patrols. The state university police are dedicated to the state university grounds. Dunkirk police work primarily in Dunkirk, and the sheriff's department may have 2 to 4 cars on the road at any given time, so that they do intersect each other, they do pass by each other, and they do work together. If we have any major problems, they all come in together to work together. Are there too many police officers? Probably, hopefully, we are overprotected. It's better to be overprotected than underprotected. In the case of the sheriff's patrol, say, if the sheriff's patrol, if we're relying on the sheriff's patrol to patrol our streets, and they get a ticket, they have to give a ticket in Ripley or a DWI in Silver Creek or any combination like that, they're tied up and we're wide open. That's why we do have a village police. And probably a large reason for the village police is that we do have 12,000 people living in the village, so we have just about the same population as the city of Dunkirk. Do we have any major crimes? Anybody that doesn't realize some of the crimes that are taking place, you have to have your eyes open as to the types of things that are going on. Are there drug issues? Of course there's drug issues. Every community has drug issues. Is there gang activities? Probably. We're keeping a close eye on that. The problem with having too many police, or people complain because they're always seeing police. The problem with not having enough police is people are complaining because there's not enough police.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? We got another caller too, okay. So you can tell this caller. Thank you, caller. I hope that answers your question. There's never such thing as too many guns or too many police. And too much garlic, I might add, in Chautauqua County. Or too much ammunition either. We're respectful of law enforcement and self-enforcement. Caller, you're on.
Hey, good morning, Reed. Good morning,
Good
Mayor.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
One of your gems in Fredonia is the Opera House. I've never been in there. I've seen photographs of it. I drove by it, but an article recently said that they're going to have to upgrade their projectors, and one of the options was to just either sell or get rid of their old projector, or just junk it. I would hope, being a movie theater buff, that you would not junk it. You'd maybe just set it up as a display or give it to like a museum, because something like that.
Yeah, they're valuable.
Right.
I mean, yeah, because when I heard it, it sort of sounded like they even thought of, just junking it. I went to a theater and they were so gung-ho to tear this theater down. They did save the projectors, but anything you got, never junk it. There's somebody out there that would really enjoy it, especially museums, history buffs. But
well, thank you, caller, for your tip.
Yeah, let me address that problem. It's already taken care of. It's already, the transformation's already taken place. We had to go digital. The movie people would no longer send us 35 millimeter film. They are all going digital. Now, in addition to that, we also have a digital camera that does the operas, the live at the operas. So that we had that digital camera already in place. Now we've put in this new digital camera, which is, state of the art and quite expensive. I think it was like a $60,000, projection system. The 35 millimeter camera that you were worried about junking, it is on display on the second floor of the Opera House. And it was built in the 30s. It's like a 1937, 35 millimeter camera, and it's a huge piece of equipment. What I would suggest is come down, visit the Opera House. I'll show you around. You can take a tour of the Opera House, take a look at the projector. We do have some other artifacts up there. The Opera House has been completely redone, mostly by volunteers, people that put a lot of sweat and toil into it, and it's gorgeous. But if you really want to get the full feeling of it, come see the Live at the Met operas that are showing through there. Every seat is a perfect seat.
There you go. Okay, caller. Thank you for your
Thank
call.
you very much.
Give your
Appreciate
number. Here's your number, caller, so he can get you.
Oh, okay. 679-2301.
Okay, you want to talk to Steve? That's what to do. And I saw on the TV where those people that go around the pickers, which is it's kind of fun to watch after the Pawn Stars, and they had picked one up, and I think they offered him $1,000 for it, an old one, you know.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not the money, you know. It's just the sentimental value.
Yeah, it's a beautiful old
of it.
thing.
I mean, at Jamestown Theater, I went to the Winter Garden. They were just so gun-ho to tear that thing down that you should see the movies when they were cutting into the place. The movies were falling out of they had them stored over the control or the projection room. They were just falling into the garbage. And,
okay. So thank you, caller.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good day. Do we have another caller? Okay, they couldn't wait. Well, we're with Steve Keefe, the mayor of Fredonia, and I wanted you to comment briefly. First of all, you were known. You had a famous visitor many years ago from France. He was Lafayette.
Right.
And he came over, and there was a big, beautiful mansion right near the Canadawea Creek, which goes through there. Mm-hmm. And the creek has gas bubbling right up out of it.
Right.
So they had saved some of the gas by putting it in a tube or whatever. They ran it up to the big mansion, and it was the first building, I understand, in the United States. It was gas illuminated.
Right.
They used mantles, and Lafayette came, and he reviewed the troops and left.
Great. Well, he did take a tour of the Barker house at that time. The legend is that if you ever go to the Barker Museum and you look at one of the ledges in the windowsill, there's a burn mark. Mm-hmm. And people still claim to this day that it was either his pipe or his cigar had sat there and burned that place on it. And, you know, whether it's legend or truth, I don't know.
I don't know, but it was great that he came in. The president brought him. He was in his mid-60s at the time, and he did a triumphant tour, and everybody thanks him. And we would have lost the war if it hadn't been for him.
Right.
The Revolutionary War. He gave us the guns. Mm-hmm. We didn't have any guns.
Right.
We're with Steve, and we got a couple of calls still, and that person's back. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning. I tuned in late, so I'm not sure if I actually have missed this or not. But I was wondering what the mayor's feelings are regarding the NRG project, and if he plans to put together any kind of citizen or community coalition to attend the meeting that Senator Young is putting together at Fredonia.
How about that, Steve?
I haven't heard about the most recent meeting. I have been to meetings with Senator Young and Assemblyman Goodell and Mayor A.J. Doltz down at the pier talking about NRG. I have written letters to the governor and also the commission, and I've sent out emails. We've tried to talk to as many people as possible. To me this is kind of a major conspiracy. NRG received the tax reliefs a few years ago to clean up their program. And, this county made a commitment to NRG, and the city of Dunkirk made a huge commitment to NRG. At the time, it was a plant that needed to be cleaned up and pollution devices put in. We did that. And the understanding was at that point that if we had made those accommodations, that we would be the plant of the future. Now, other plants didn't make those types of accommodations. They didn't, clean up their pollution problems or anything else. And those plants look like they're still in operation. I think one of the things that bothers me the most, NRG is coming in, or the National Grid, the National Grid is coming in and saying, Well, you don't need to buy your power from NRG. We'll be able to supply you your power. What they're going to do is they're going to manufacture their power in Ohio, Pennsylvania, other states.
And even Canada, I might add.
Well, I don't know if they own the plant in Canada, but they didn't meet the conditions of the EPA to manufacture power. We did. We did the right thing from the very beginning, and it's a tragedy that we're paying a penalty now for doing the right thing.
There you go.
And the problem is that if we do not do something, it won't be just Dunkirk. It'll be Dunkirk, Fredonia, and the entire surrounding area.
County,
it'll be the whole county. It's a huge county taxpayer.
Yeah. Well, the meeting is scheduled at SUNY Fredonia's Williams Center in the multi-purpose room on Monday, July 15th. And
July
we really
15th.
need to have a huge citizen turnout.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, caller. July 15th at the center which center in Fredonia State University?
SUNY Fredonia's Williams Center multi-purpose room on Monday, July 15th.
8 o'clock, what time?
It says there will be an question and answer period from 6 to 7, and the hearing will begin at 7 p.m. So everyone in the county needs to be there.
Okay, well, thank you, caller, for that tip.
Thank you.
You probably reiterated all over the place, too.
Right, oh, I will.
It's a very important, because it looks like certain powers and powerful groups in New York State are trying to circumvent this, so they're trying to kill it. And that'll be the end of NRG, and probably Chautauqua County. We're the highest tax county right now. They can't tax us any higher. Everybody will leave the county.
Well, I think part of this is driven by profits by other corporations. And as long as there's a profit to be made, a corporation's going to go for that profit.
The rich and powerful are still running this country.
And National Grid is probably bigger
Yeah.
than NRG.
Okay, there you go. I don't want to leave on a negative tone. At least you can go in the woods and pick leeks in the spring anyway up here. A lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Which are not, they're not leeks really. Leeks are a big white thing you get at the supermarket. These are ramps, and they're not garlic, not onions or garlic, but they're very mild and delicious. Free all you can get. Steve Keefe, Mayor of Fredonia, I've got this message has just come in, friends. What? Well, how about that? We're out of here. I'll give you 30 seconds to close down, Steve.
Oh, so I get to speak for 30 seconds?
Yes, uninterrupted. Time is up. Now.
Okay, good. I've got so much to say, you know.
Go ahead.
Well, really, I just appreciate being offered the opportunity to come on your show.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, it was a great time and very enjoyable. You've got a very upbeat staff here, crew, and I think you're about as upbeat this early in the morning as anybody could be. So there you must have extra coffee with you. But I do want to know, what's the 9 Life cat food for?
This is because with the inflation that's going on and the fact that seniors aren't getting a cola, they're going to be eating cat food.
Oh.
Because cat food is very relatively inexpensive.
Right.
And during the Depression, they ate it. And
Right.
they lived in their children's garages or their basements, which they will be doing again shortly, thanks to Congress not giving them the cola and their Social Security.
Poor man's pate, huh?
Well, actually, it's not too bad. If this is the tuna. If you
Okay.
mix that with the mayonnaise, it's not bad at all. I'm going to write a cookbook for cat food recipes for humans because it's going to be the thing of the future.
Right.
Seniors won't be able to buy normal food.
And then as soon as you start buying it, they're going to raise the price of it.
Right, and AARP has already got a Save the Seniors food program going, and it's going to be all over the country. Seniors are starving. They haven't got the money to buy food. They have to buy medication and stuff. Hey, we're going off the air. Thank you. Thank you, these beautiful people. Chuck Kelsey, who invented this program, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, John Hamels, and last but not least, all of you beautiful people. Sorry, the last caller. Call in next time. You'll be back, won't you?
I'll be back.
Sure. And that eventually you'll be that congressman, I hope. So then
No.
you have a little zap.
No.
Well, I've known 2 Congressman Reeds. And,
You're right. Yeah.
Hey, bye-bye all. Have a beautiful day. Get out there and dance and sing in the rain and fish while you're at it. It's free.
Right.
Bye-bye. I'm Reed.